you done now?
With me?
I will.
I will.
No, thank you. I suggest we all draw lots for partners.
Very visual scene, everybody.
Ready? The two shortest together, the next two shortest together. Agreed? And I suggest the two shortest search the cellar and so on up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Clue the Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie clip 1 minute at a time. My name is Brad Gilmore, joined by Jeff Smith. We're talking minute 46, but Jeff, before we jump into it, six is good. That's a Seinfeld reference. Did you pick up on that one?
Do you like that? What's the actual line?
Do you remember? Six is good.
I know, she's reading lips, but there's also, if fans of European Vacation, have you seen National Lampoon's European Vacation?
I've seen European Vacation, not recently, but yes.
So they're in I forget which country they're in, but it's, the word for six is sex.
Ah.
So Griswold goes to the door looking for directions, and the family opens the door. He says, "My family and I are looking for sex." And they slam the door on it. 1985, friends.
I will tell you, I made a I wouldn't call it a foolish purchase, but it is a Chevy Chase 1980s and 1985 related purchase. If I can relay this information, I purchased a Fletch trading card where he's dressed up as the Laker with the afro, signed by Chevy Chase. That's already been graded. And I'm going to put it on this here wall behind me when it comes in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine purchase.
But you know what he was selling on his website that I hate that I missed out on, and I'm sure our friend Laker Jim probably owns. He was selling pages out of the original Fletch script that he used on the set. He still had the script, and he would just tear out a page, sign it at random, and send it to you. Now, what would you pay for that?
For a page of the Fletch script with Chevy Chase's autograph, I would go. See, I don't want to go too low because then the story is over and done. But if I go too high, it seems like I've just got money to throw at script pages, but I don't. But I'll say 200.
200? Okay, you're not far off. He was charging 300 for a script page.
Okay. That seems a bit much.
A random script page. Now, see, if you just get, some of the screen direction, like a lot of screen direction, like Fletch gets in his car and drives to his apartment. The theme song cues, exterior, daylight, Fletch's apartment. Fletch makes his way up the stairs. That would kind of suck. But if you get come on, guys, it's all ball bearings nowadays.
Ball bearings? Oh, well, that's it. Each page should be graded based on what time is done for the quality of the quote. Yeah,
the quote quality has, because here's the thing: somebody's paying $1,000 for ball bearings, right?
At least.
I'm just saying at the minimum.
At least
it's starting.
Here's throwing out numbers. Yeah,
we're starting at 1,000.
Yeah, that'd be like although it's not in the script, but if flames on the side of my face was in the script and Madeline Kahn signed that page.
This is a great game. Okay.
That would be like in Planet Hollywood if that still was a thing.
Let me ask you this, because we're about to talk about minute 46, but as people just heard, not a lot.
I hope you like the sound of rain, and I hope you didn't have to go to the bathroom.
So let's play this game a little bit. Other than what you just said is now off the table. What?
It's irrelevant, as usual.
Yes, per the usual. What page of the script would you most like to own, and which of the cast members would you most like to autograph it?
Of Clue?
Yes.
Anything from the last third by Tim Curry.
Anything, not anything in particular.
Ugh. Maybe once he starts the recreation, like where he says, "I know because I was there." Although monkey's brains now popular, though popular in Cantonese cuisine, would not so often found in Washington D.C. is a good one. But then I guess everybody kind of has their signature line. So if you had a page that said, "I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife," Michael McKean signed it, or "I didn't do it," or yeah.
What's the quintessential Professor Plum?
Probably well, it's censored, but originally in the third inning where he says, "Who did I kill?" and Wadsworth says, "My butler," and he says, "Oh shucks." That's pretty good. But I think his line probably is when she says, "Why is the car stopped?"
It's frightened.
It's frightened. That's a pretty good Plum line.
That is a good Plum line.
Although also, okay.
Yvette might be "Oui, oui, madame."
Yeah.
I like "Oui, oui, madame."
Or the line she gives before she's offed.
Well, we haven't gotten to that.
My body. Yeah. By the way, she gets killed. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We're going to talk about Yvette here in a moment, but there's a lot that you could do. I would say, you know which one I would actually want because it involves and this is actually breaking news right now. These are my 3 favorite characters in the movie, to no one's surprise, because I love all 3 of the actors. But when Plum and Scarlett make their appearance on the doorstop, or on the in front of the door, and Wadsworth opens it and says, "Oh, I didn't know you were acquainted." She said, "We're not." That's the one I would want, signed by all 3.
We weren't, yeah.
We weren't. Figure that out. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You like that?
I'll go with you that.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
Let's talk about Yvette. And the reason I want to talk
about Camp.
I want to talk about Yvette. Let's talk about Colleen Camp just for a moment. Now, at this point in her career, what did most people know her from? Was it from Apocalypse Now? Or no?
It was. Yeah, she's in Apocalypse Now. She's one of the Playboy playmates that dances. So I don't know how many people probably made the connection when they saw Clue that was the dancer. But before that, she had done TV. Like she had been on Happy Days. She had been on Love American Style, which were big shows in the 70s. She
so here I'll ring off
like searching.
I'll ring off some of her credits here. Now this is TV.
Yeah.
She was in Starsky and Hutch, which a lot of people might know. Man from Atlantis, never heard of it. In 1 episode, 2 episodes of Dallas. Dallas was a major show, massive show. She was in an episode of Dukes of Hazzard. She was in an episode of Magnum P.I. and then Tales from the Dark Side. All beforehand. Now after, of course, Clue, she did Murder, She Wrote, Tales from the Crypt, Roseanne. She was in Entourage twice. I believe it's 2 different characters, or maybe the same character. And then she's done other stuff after that. Now, when we go to her actual film resume, not TV, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, she was uncredited, 1973. It's a pretty big movie. After that, she was in Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. I've heard of that. Gumball Rally, I've heard of that. I've never seen either.
Smile was a big movie.
Smile
was about beauty pageant ladies. And actually, the star of Smile was Annette O'Toole, who eventually became the wife of Michael McKean.
Look at that.
And then she was in Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage back in the day. In fact, it's funny. You would think she'd be a good candidate to play a Valley Girl, but she played the Valley Girl's mom in Valley Girl, a young mom, but a mom nonetheless. And then in '85, one of my favorite movies, Police Academy 2, their first assignment. Guilty pleasure Police Academy movies for me, for sure. There's a documentary coming out, fan-made documentary about Police Academy that's been coming out for years and years and years, called What an Institution. And I'm not sure what the status of that one is, but I can relate. It takes a while.
For Colleen Camp, though, let me ask this. I mean, if you look at those films just prior to Clue, again, she's a playmate, maybe not the most recognizable role. At least you wouldn't know that's Colleen Camp. But the biggest movie she had been in up to the point, and again, Apocalypse Now is Francis Ford Coppola. Was this his first movie after Godfather 2?
What was the Conversation?
Conversation came later, I think.
Okay. Oh, you know what movie she was in that was very big, and I think she got to even sing in it, is a movie by Peter Bogdanovich called They All Laughed. And that was with Audrey Hepburn and a young John Ritter and Dorothy Stratton.
It's a good cast.
And yeah, big time. So that one, I know when I interviewed Colleen Camp, she talked about that movie a lot. It's from 1981. She talked about it a lot. I hadn't seen it, so I had to be just the silent nodder on that one.
Now,
because it's kind of I think it's a dramatic kind of movie, and she was very proud of it. And I said, "Oh yeah, but Police Academy too." That's where my wheelhouse is in cinema.
Yeah, we're not on the RT stuff. So Godfather was 72, Conversation was 74, Godfather Part 2 was 74, and then Apocalypse Now is 79. So it's his first.
He was in the jungle for a long time.
Yeah, he was there.
And she's in more scenes in later cuts, because there's about 5 different versions of Apocalypse Now, and she's in the Redux or the Redux. I don't know. She should be able to pronounce it. She's French.
That's true. Are we going to get a redo of Who Done It, the Clue documentary? Are we going to get a Redux?
A Redux. That would be fine if I got interviews with some of the people that didn't participate the first time. I would happily Redux it.
Well, then let's Redux it.
You know who you are. Great Scott.
Let's Redux it.
Clue redo.
Clue redo. Now,
What's Redux?
Who are some of the other actresses who would have been up for this role? Because the only reason I'm saying that is because you would think everybody else in the movie, aside from Lee Ving, had a pretty good amount of notoriety going into this film. 3 were nominated for Academy Awards, right? Or at least on the female side. And then you have Chris Lloyd, who is also known from Taxi, coming into this, and Cuckoo's Nest, and then coming into this, he's just, as we talked last week, had the biggest movie of his life come out at this time. So who else would have been up for this role who may have had some more notoriety than Colleen Camp at the moment?
Yeah, I don't think for the big parts there was a lot of auditioning. I think Jonathan Lynn and the casting team, Jane Jenkins is one of them, kind of just had meetings with people, because when I talked to Michael McKeon, he got the job just after having a meeting, and John Lynn had seen This Is Spinal Tap, which is funny because that's not a David St. Hubbins in Spinal Tap is nothing like Mr. Green, but I guess he figured he could do it. From my understanding, the actress that was basically handed the role of Yvette was Jennifer Jason Leigh, who had just come off of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And that was a role where she definitely showed skin. So I guess she wasn't opposed to that at the time. And then she turned it down. But famously, another famous person that wanted the role, allegedly, is the Queen of Pop, Madonna, who was very big in 85. This was like right after Like a Virgin, and she was the queen of MTV.
How would you have felt?
Material Girl.
How would you felt of Madonna being Yvette?
I think Madonna would have been very distracting, because
distracting
in 85
how?
She was very famous. As far as a lot of these characters, or the actors in Clue, while you recognize them, they were able to kind of fall into their role. And I think what you would be thinking about if you saw Madonna in a French maid costume is, that's Madonna in a French maid costume, and why is she trying to do a French accent? And Madonna definitely was not known. She did a few movies, but she definitely wasn't known for her acting ability.
Yes.
But interesting that Paramount was definitely pushing for musicians in this movie, because the whole reason Lee Ving is Mr. Body is because he was in the punk band Fear, and they wanted a musician to be in the movie. And he had just started doing acting roles. He was in Flashdance. He was in Streets of Fire with Tommy Lee Jones. So, and then the singing telegram girl is Jane Wiedlin from the Go-Go's, who were also very big in '85. So it's interesting. And then there's a huge rumor. I never had this confirmed, but I've heard that one of the people they thought about for Mr. Body was Weird Al Yankovic, which would be very distracting.
That wouldn't have worked.
No,
that would not have worked.
So they were kind of all over the place with casting. These sound more to me like suggestions from the studio, because when I interviewed Jane Jenkins, who's the casting director of Clue, she didn't mention any of those people. She mentioned people like Elizabeth Taylor or who else did she mention? Oh, Robin Williams, and actual comedians and actors, and Carrie Fisher, who famously was cast to play Miss Scarlet before she didn't. But yeah, so Madonna wanted the role, and then Colleen Camp went to audition, and she actually dressed in a French maid costume.
Well, I'm sure that got a couple of looks.
Which doesn't always work. Yeah, doesn't always work. Sean Young used to harass Tim Burton before Batman Returns, dressed as Catwoman. And she went on the Joan Rivers show, and dressed as Catwoman. And she just looked insane.
Well,
places out.
Yeah, it didn't work for her. Now, Madonna would have been an interesting choice. I actually recently was on a plane back from Miami and watched A League of Their Own with my sister-in-law. We watched it on the plane together. And Madonna was really good in that movie. You don't think so?
No, she's the only scene that I think about where I'm like, was when she got really serious about, I'm not going back to wherever she was.
Oh,
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. I actually would agree with that. Yes, it was a little overdone.
That's when you're like, okay, calm down, Madonna.
It was a little overdone.
When she's playing the
promiscuous,
kind of
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who she channeled for that part, and then having the funny sidekick Rosie O'Donnell playing Rosie O'Donnell, basically.
They did kind of play themselves.
Although I liked them together, they were great.
They were great. I would have seen a movie with them.
Although, who's the best character? Sadly, because it's a film full of great women performances. But my favorite character in League of Their Own is not Tom Hanks.
Who?
He's great. It's John Lovitz.
Oh. But he is also being John Lovitz.
He's being John Lovitz. Will you shut up?
Hanks was
he yells
great.
At the cow. No, Hanks is great. And yeah, that's when Tom Hanks was starting to become like real actor Tom Hanks. Because right before that was The Burbs.
Yeah.
And, that was Bachelor Party, Turner and Hooch. Tom Hanks, not Forrest Gump.
No, this was pre Forrest Gump. Yeah. No, we could talk about that for a minute. Now, in this scene, they're drawing the short straws, the logs. Is that what they call them? The logs?
Lots.
Lots.
We're drawing lots.
What is that? I've never even heard of that.
Drawing straws.
That's just what they call them
I've never heard.
Mario, London.
Maybe in New England in 1954.
That's pretty good.
It's Spinal Tap. it's England in 1954. It's not Stonehenge. But I think I would love you to go to the script, because I was just on a podcast recently called hashtag. Oh shoot, what's it called?
Ooh.
Hashtag Just Saying.
Okay.
Hashtag Just Saying.
Okay.
This wonderful okay, I remember. And actually, the hosts of Hashtag Just Saying, it's a Massachusetts podcast. They're also in Who Done the Clue documentary for a quick second. They're in the montage of fans. But they asked me, they're certain that they saw a TV version of Clue at some point where there is a scene, the deleted scene that aired on TV between Wadsworth saying we're going to draw lots to the scene in the kitchen where they draw lots. I've never seen it. I just looked it up before we started. I couldn't find it. You've got the script in front of you. Did you see anything?
So let's go. Let's go from where he suggests to draw lots. I haven't read through it yet, so let's see if there's anything new.
This could be a live disaster, folks.
Most likely will be. Wadsworth, I suggest we draw lots for partners. He goes over to the fireplace, and from the mantelpiece, he takes a box of matches or some long tapers, is what it says in the script. He goes to the desk. But
why are they lots?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I suggest we draw matches.
He goes to the desk but cannot find anything sharp, so he leaves the library, gesturing to the others to follow him. Interior, hall. Wadsworth, followed by others, crosses the hall to the kitchen. Okay, that's a great scene. Scene 60, interior, kitchen. Wadsworth comes into the kitchen and crosses to a drawer and produces a sharp carving knife. He turns abruptly, knife in hand. The others gasp, step back, and cower. Wadsworth is unaware of this. He sets about cutting the matches. Oh, it says matches into 8 different lengths. Then carefully, his back to the others, he places the matches in his hand so that no one can tell their lengths. He turns to them face. Then Wadsworth says, ready? The shortest goes with the shortest. The longest goes with the second longest. Agreed. Blah, 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 blah. No. It's not different.
Well, a little bit. A
little.
The whole thing with the knife, and it's definitely an echo of when he goes to check on the cook at the beginning of the movie, and she turns around and is pointing the knife at him. But yeah, I can see how that's unnecessary, other than it points out that there's a big old knife in the kitchen this entire time that's been just sitting there waiting to be a weapon.
And let's see if they're the same pairings. It seems like they are. Wadsworth is paired with Mrs. White. No man would ever be caught dead with you. Yvette with Mr. Green. I wouldn't. Colonel Mustard with Miss Scarlet. Makes sense of Professor Plum, Miss Peacock. This is all the same, right?
Yeah, good pairings.
And then Mrs. Peacock. I can't do it. Me alone in the pitch darkness with this sex maniac. Professor Plum. I assure you, Mrs. Peacock, that there's absolutely no chance of my so much as laying a finger on you, even though your appearance would undoubtedly be improved by pitch darkness.
Oh. Wow.
Miss Peacock, barbarian.
That's a good insult. Both of them. That's great.
It's actually pretty good. So there's a bit of a difference.
By darkness. Yeah, it's very different that it's him like turning into typical Professor Plum. But we haven't even gotten to that. We didn't hear that.
No, we haven't.
It was rain.
We haven't heard that. We haven't heard.
Jumping the gun.
We are jumping the gun there. As far as this minute goes, like I said, guys, there wasn't a lot of actual dialogue here. There was more of them cutting the short straws. Now, do you like the pairings as they were? Because as I just read them and as we see, they make sense. Because Wadsworth made reference. Perfect, yeah, Wadsworth made. Now that you could probably switch Scarlet and Peacock or Wadsworth and Plum around, but I like how this is because we've already seen Plum make at least an overture on Mrs. Scarlet. We've seen him make an overture on Yvette. We've seen him make an overture at Mrs. White. So Peacock's the last he's got. This is the last chance he's got.
It's it.
He's trying to get with them all.
Yeah. Interesting order of attempts too. It's just he bounces. That's for sure.
Hey man.
Yeah, I think the grouping is of course wonderful. Because I think the dynamic would have been creepy and also just redundant if Plum and Scarlet went off together again. We got it. We already saw that.
We saw it, yeah. And
then we get Mustard and Scarlet, who have that animosity to each other earlier because of the negatives and everything. It's nice that he's trying to be the guy in charge, and the person that's really the most dominant in this entire house is Miss Scarlet. So it's got to be very emasculating for him to be stuck with her. Because even he tries later to say like ladies first, and she says no thanks.
Yeah,
she doesn't need his help.
She doesn't want his help. She doesn't like
ladies first in this movie, and they always say no.
Yeah, it's very strange.
We'll get to that.
Is there anything else in minute 46 we should cover here?
It's a nice shot. If you're watching it at home, it's one long shot from that. So the timing is great. I don't know how many takes they had to do, but it's great and very visual. Unfortunately, for an audio podcast,
I will say this. I do like how I think Yvette draws the longest match and immediately holds it up, I think, to Colonel Mustard, who has the shortest. Right? They like hold it up and like to see if they matched, you know?
Well, Plum has the tiniest.
Puts Plum.
But yeah.
Holds it to Plum.
Yeah, Yvette's is bigger than everyone's.
Yes. And then she ends it. Right. And right, that makes sense.
So it's good that it was Collie Cam. Collie Cam was great. And then she, later on went to be in one of the other great cult classics of the 90s in Wayne's World. So
oh, right.
Yeah, she's Noah's wife.
Right.
Not to be confused with Joan of Arc, who was Jane Wheadland in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, who plays the singing telegram girl in Clue. What?
Wow. Look at that. We came back. By the way, I'm a big fan of Tia Carrera, who was in.
Oh, sure.
And I've had a chance to interview her. Lovely. Just lovely. I always love when you interview somebody and then the interview stops and they still want to talk. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
Well, not when we do this podcast. I'm like, okay, let's wrap it up, Jeff.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I am no Tia Carrera, but I would understand, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Because that means they like you. They're not just on to the next thing.
Potentially. They potentially like me. We're not sure. But he's Jeff Smith. I'm Brad Gilmore. This has been minute 46 of Clue the Movie. We'll be back with minute 47, which I think we're saying minute 48 is our official halfway point.
All right.
So we're close.
What are we going to do for that?
Who the hell knows? We don't even know how this thing's going to end.
Party?
We should. Maybe we should skip, like, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I have an idea, but we'll talk about it.
Oh, Brad's got an idea, folks. It's always good. When Brad has an idea that goes off the air, something magical happens.
Yes.
Every time.
But he's Jeff Smith. I'm Brad Gilmore. ClueDoc.com, thebobradgilmore.com, and we'll be back next week with minute 47 of Clue.